We have a few minutes leave on the program. You know, the funniest thing about these sisters who pass away from the bleaching thing is that them parents and them friend them don't want people know says the bleaching cause it, you know. It's weird, you know. It's like if them could have just come out and say, well, the bleaching cause, maybe that help somebody else to stop the bleaching, but it's like them don't want nobody knows say bleaching cause them dead. So them just give it over to some other reasoning. It's weird. Cutting edge, I refer. Strange year for a whole heap of different things. In that, we did have a youth where couldn't cross it, apart from where they do. That was a phenomenon in itself, but it looked like it's a one-half leak. Yeah, it's a one-half leak. I mean, that was like an event for 2011. I don't hear nobody mention it. Yeah, Cliff Twang create a vibes in Jamaica, unprecedented, never before ever happened. Where news report become a big hit. Well, we don't hear nothing more about Cliff Twang. I don't know if him have him close him saying that I will start a close line. I don't know if the close line start. Maybe him still hang him close by him line. Them open say rain over it up and wash it away. So him couldn't cross it. But apart from that, one of the big news is that the world was going to end. Yes, that was one of the biggest news actually. Where people who actually never did even believe it, start believe it. When it near right get to the time and people start to cringe. You did have all church. It's weird. You did have person who are collect money for baptize people quick. Because there was a lot of people searching for baptism because I'm here to the world. Maybe at that she'll think about you. Maybe she's not even thinking such she dose the youth with that water and she supposed to feel a remorse about it. It's a terrible thing. Terrible crime that, man, I can't really... The psychology of this is you know, I mean, oh gosh, man. It's terrible, man. We are here, some things are going on now with the people. Them, I try to figure out which part of the brains them gone. What is eating up the people, them brains, that they can revert to such cruelty that we never usually hear about. Years when I hear youth, I don't hear about them thing there. And I know hear about them thing there. Maybe that wicked man and I did too young to know them, but throw heart to heart upon a youth when they must sleep, Rasta. Terrible. No, this is a big thing, as I know. I don't know how much you hear this, but when I hear it, it make me heart just melt. Yeah, because given say, me go to Trinidad so much time, and you ever know they say you're going to the supermarket and you see all water come from Trinidad? Yeah, bottled in Trinidad. All sort of things you say bottled in Trinidad. I mean I say, we have so much things from Trinidad. Well, I was listening to a news report, some business news on the television, and I am mind-boggled by this news. This news is saying that Trinidad export to Jamaica. Listen to this now, you know. Listen to this. This is a serious thing, you know. This is so serious that if the government not address this, really and truly, this is so serious. Trinidad export to Jamaica is $23 billion. You understand what I say? In other words, we buy $23 million worth of things from Trinidad. $23 billion. We in turn sell Trinidad. No, I'm assuming that $23 billion is per year. So we import, Trinidad export to Jamaica $23 billion worth of goods and services. Jamaica export to Trinidad $1 billion. Oh my gosh, man. No. If this is not something, if this is not something to think about, it's weird. Consider $1 billion and $23 billion. That is 23 times. I mean, Jamaica goods and services to Trinidad is $1 billion. And Trinidad goods and services to Jamaica is $23 billion. That is something we have to think about, you know. All the discrepancy they're so far apart. Why, how come we have so much things in Jamaica going for we? Trinidad is much smaller than Jamaica, you know. Trinidad population, they will reach half of Jamaica population in the Rasta. Now, think about that, Jamaican people. Think about that. That Trinidad, having less than half of the population where Jamaica have, Jamaica is much bigger than Trinidad. Yet still, they are able to supply Jamaica with $23 billion worth of goods and services. And we, who are going like say, we run the world and we rule the world and this and that and this and this and that and that. We only can export $1 billion worth of goods and services to Trinidad. No, sir. Something wrong. Something seriously wrong. Seriously wrong. That is something where all of these manufacturers and these new ministers, enough of them have to go really penetrate. Because maybe the only thing where surpass Trinidad export is Jamaican music and artists. Maybe the Jamaican music and artists into, as a matter of fact, no, maybe nothing. Because when you go to Trinidad, on Carnival time you hear Trinidad music. When we take the rounds and I do interviews on all the major radio station them and television network in a Trinidad, appear Jamaican music them a play. Pure Jamaican music. When you see a car come down, when you hear a car come down the road, appear Jamaican music you hear. The only time you hear soca, really, on a major level, are during Carnival time. So maybe all in $1 billion there, reggae music, dancehall music have something to do with the $1 billion goods and services. Trinidad export $23 billion worth of goods and services to Jamaica, while Jamaica export to Trinidad $1 billion worth of goods and service. 1 billion. 1 billion. No, I don't want you to feel like saying no one, me say. 1, O-N-E, 1. That is where Jamaica give to Trinidad. Trinidad in reverse give Jamaica, $23 billion. $23 billion worth of goods and services. Wow. Who can be proud of that? I ain't not proud of that because the statistics I tell you say now say 60% of what we eat in Jamaica come from foreign. I go ahead in Jamaica, Rasta. Believe you me. What the hell is going on in Jamaica? 60% of what we eat in Jamaica come from foreign. This is a land of wood and water. How is that possible? How is that possible? How can a country say it's moving forward and it can't feed itself? If we can't feed ourselves, it's who we are feed. We are feeding the Trinidadian there. You remember the Trinidadian Prime Ministeress did say, and she offended all PGA policy, that PGA policy is not fair. PGA policy did have it out back when them attack. She said, Trinidad is not an ATM machine. That is how fierce the woman is. She said Trinidad is not an ATM machine. It means no, don't not go like say you can't come at Trinidad and go just punch in and get money from Trinidad. So yet still them productivity is way ahead of us. That evil water we import from Trinidad. Water. We supposed to have the best water in the Caribbean. And we are import water from Trinidad. That is how free the market is. And I go to Trinidad, I never see none of our water in another supermarket. They might not understand that. I not say water upon the shelf. The one named W8 or Catherine Peak. Or Reggae Water. Or Mecca Water. I never see none of them upon the shelf in Trinidad. In the supermarket them. And I go in a Jamaican supermarket, I say, bottled in Trinidad. So I don't know if it's a deal made with the Jamaican government that we can't give no water, but we can't give you none. We don't know how them things go. It's terrible. And we know, instead of we are plant where we eat, we are plant where we export. So everybody are concentrate and send with things rather than feed the people them in Jamaica good food. Yeah, we need to feed ourselves and feed ourselves good food too. Because 60% of the food that come from foreign, you know, say, appear bloat up people about the place. So within the Caribbean still, we see that Cuba is discussing about legalizing gay marriage, same-sex marriage, as them call it. Cuba, yes, you hear me right. You hear me right, man. Cuba is discussing about same-sex marriage. Wow. 90 miles from Jamaica. Well, things are get away, you know, Rasta. Believe you know, things are get away. Things really are get away from different quarters and from quarters where they will expect certain things. We say tonight, in keeping with our month-long programs of the feminine energy, the first Wednesday we featured Empress Menin, the biography of Empress Menin, a book out there about the life and history of Empress Menin, Empress of Ethiopia, wife to Emperor Haile Selassie I. Last week we had a program here that was phenomenal. Yes, I mean, we still get texts and this and that about the program last week with Cherry Natural, Keshima Francis and Tanya Stevens, who was talking about the psychology of poetry, and these three sisters who write poetry. We had a big conversation with them, and I tell you, it was phenomenal. So tonight, as we mentioned, we want to feature the Queen of Sheba. Yeah, the Queen of Sheba documentary and the Queen of Sheba. Now, most people only hear about the Queen of Sheba when Rasta talk about Queen of Sheba. I tell you, you know, some well was some things for the radio, but it entail talking some of those nice Jamaican words where you can lock down the station for get charged for. Because sometimes the only way you can express what you want to say beautifully, because we're not talking about cursing nothing now, but just expressing it in a very beautiful Jamaican way. Sometimes these words have to be injected into the sentences. But knowing what we know and knowing that it is not acceptable for the moment in time, we refuse and we refrain from saying it, even though we have it in our mind. But really and truly, Rasta give the world a cultural expression, or should I say give the Western world a cultural expression that is so, so wonderful to the psyche of black people that it really grieves me sometimes when Rasta expound on certain things and people are look at me like, where we get them things from. Now, movies, me say a movie name, Solomon and Sheba. For years when me pick me say a movie name Solomon and Sheba. I think Elizabeth Taylor Hackett, Solomon Sheba. Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. I think Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. But when me see the movie there, I pure white people in the movie. So my little mind couldn't connect that to anything more than just a movie. So me grew up now and me start to look into certain things. And me go back go watch the movie. In the comfort of my house. Me go back go watch the movie and me I say, wow, look the door. All of them history there. White people write it down and make it in a movie. But we can't see ourselves inside of that story. Because the story is so white that there's no way we could have see ourselves connected to anything we are going in the movie. Yes, the name of the places that is mentioned in the movie do have nothing to do with Europe. It do have nothing to do with Europe. And now we become Rasta. And we start to read books from Ethiopia. And we realize the story of Sheba and Solomon is an integral part of the cultural and religious aspect of Ethiopia. No, nobody never tell me that because really and truly, me never even know about Ethiopia. As since me a Rasta, me gonna know about Ethiopia. To be truthful. As since me start to say me a Rasta, me know anything about Ethiopia. And I guarantee you that most youth, it's only when Rasta say Ethiopia, them connect it. And then to them, Ethiopia is a Rasta thing. We are say that Rastafari is a subject that is very necessary because we have opened the pathway for remembrance. The late Barry Shevan say Rastafari is the memory of the Jamaican people. Barry Shevans. Him say Rastafari is the memory of the Jamaican people. A lot of us could not connect a whole heap of things we are going in the Bible with Africa and with black people until Rasta come. We never have that perception and concept about we self in our history unless it's about slavery. So anytime we talk about slavery, it's black people. But anytime we talk about biblical perspectives like Palestine, Israel, Babylon, Ethiopia, Egypt, we never even figure out, say, black people. It's black people did that make them history there. We couldn't see it. Rasta come make us see it. Rasta come make us see it. So, the Queen of Sheba is one of them story where a Rasta make me come figure out and go read about Ethiopian history. I could say we are going on this phone. The phone are going. So, yes, cutting edge. All right, you're gone. All right, yeah. Back to the talking. We want to feature a story about the Queen of Sheba tonight. And we want to elaborate on the ideas of how patriarchal mindset vanish, totally relinquish the feminine energy out of anything divine. So that is really what we want to present to the people them tonight. Cutting edge, yes, cutting edge.
Greetings, both.
Oh, you do, man.
I'm all right, you know.
Yes, sir. It's that time and that night. I know. This is our British connection here.
Yes, man.
Yeah, give thanks.
Yes. For those who don't know me, my name is Liven Prince, and I'm linking right from the second city of the United Kingdom.
But that don't mean they know you. You tell them that.
Well, try and know me.
I joke. Go ahead, talk.
Yeah. Of course, Muta, they could also, I'd say they could also go to my Facebook page, Liven Prince, and just, log on and we can take it from there. Right. Muta, I'm going to have to come back to the Jamaica in the Square issue.
Where that about for the Olympics time, the 50th anniversary?
Yes.
Yeah, that about it, yeah.
Yes. One of the director, Miss Marisha Mason, she was trying to get here, but unfortunately the time now is minutes to 4. She's probably in her bed sleeping because they're working. Yeah. They're working hard to get that tender from the Birmingham City Council. And but she hoping that she could come next week. But she asked me to request from Jamaicans who really want to really help to establish what they would think would gain that tender, that to win the tender for a Jamaican in the Square. How could they do to camouflage a Jamaica situation the size of a football pitch in Birmingham City Centre? So they want people from Jamaica to email, if you can email her, and she gave me her email address, which is excelwithus@yahoo.com. So that is Excel with us. I'm trying to give it again at the end of.
All right, so I'm going to get this clear now. There is a plan afoot to make a Jamaican village in the Square in Birmingham.
Yes.
The size of a football field for the 50th anniversary.
Right.
And what they want now is somebody to design. That is what them doing.
Yeah, she wanted people from Jamaica can, give their idea of how they could, set up a Jamaica in the Square. She was talking to me and she was saying she probably could incorporate a Duns River Falls situation.
Yeah.
Just about anything. And the thing is, they're trying to work hard because last June, the Asian Consortium promote the reggae in the Square at that venue, and they did it in the sense that they could use it as a kind of strength because they are going for the tender as well. And they are, as Jamaican parents, feel that Jamaica in the Square should not be run by Asian. It should be run by black people.
By Jamaican, not only black people, by Jamaican.
By Jamaicans, right.
So, all right. But this is going to need an architectural mind. Tell me, it need an architectural mind. What it need?
Well, I'm quite sure that architectural mind people are listening now could, could email Miss Maurice Mason at excelwithus@yahoo.com and take it from there. You could dialogue with her. I think she also proposing to, people with business promotion, who people doing business want to promote it at that venue, because I'll say the world media is going to be centered at that venue.
No, you need to get her, you need to make sure wake up next week and we could talk to her.
Okay,
because I think it's a very interesting idea for design. For those of us who know Birmingham and know, say Birmingham are one of the, outside of London, are one of the biggest cities them in England there. I mean, trust me. For we have a old square design in a Jamaican way, that is really something profound. Trust me.
Yes, it is. It is. It's really. I mean, they could have used America. They didn't. They could have used so many different countries.
Yeah, well, England have more Jamaicans in there than America. Still, I think.
Yes.
So they must have a Grangeville there too, with the good ganja and all them something there. They have to have a place where you have big ganja feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, man. And Muta, definitely I'm going to promote the cutting edge. I'm going to get a booth to promote the cutting edge at that venue because so...
I tell you, say, if you want to make some money for me, just fly me, come up, let me just stand up in the boat. I'm have to do stand up in the boat,
You have to be serious about it, so we can get going,
Yeah. No, man, it's so interesting. It's so interesting. That Jamaican thing to me is so interesting because I know the square where you're talking about.
Yes,
I know the square.
Yeah, man, by the council.
Yeah.
All right, Muta, we'll move on. The BBC TV is promoting a series. They're seeking lively and fun Jamaican family to take part in a mini-series. And, the name of the series is Turn Back Time. They turn back in the time. What the producer wanted to camouflage one street in England, like the 1960s, to give the prospective family, who are going to tender again to win it, a feel of what their parents, grandparents would have experienced when they first came here
in the 50s.
England. Yeah. And so people who are listening who have the family, of course people are listening over England who have family, they said the children should be the children should be between the age of 18, no older, from between 8 and 18 to take part. And they leave a phone number here, Ingrid, INGRID .OREILLY at very long email at WALLTOWALL.UK. Sorry.
No, wait there. Hold on the bridging, because this is serious thing. You know much people there. Sit down there right now and want this opportunity. Yeah? You have a phone number.
The phone number.
Yeah, give them the phone number, because people who want to do this, I don't think the email I gonna remember. They're gonna remember the email. Give them the phone number.
Right. Okay. The phone number for those who in England is, you're gonna have to put.
No, brother. No, you're telling about for those who's in England. Want to those who at Jamaica you talk to, At England alone you talk to.
Right.
No, man, you want some Jamaican people involved in the whole thing too. Not only Jamaicans with their England.
Right.
So give them the phone number.
Right. It's 2072 419399. So that's 2072 419399. And they say,
and if you call from Jamaica, you put 44 in front of it. 144.
Yes. And if you're phoning from the UK, you put 0 in front of that. Of course, it's a London number.
It's so like, right? A Jamaican from Jamaica do this thing, Because you keep say if you call from England or if you call from England. At Jamaica, you talk to, brethren. I mean, not say England people now listen, but you go like, why we get involved in that thing.
Yes, man. Of course. Why not?
Because they talk about England, this or England, that.
Right.
Yeah,
and they say the filming will take place from the 12th to the 15th of April. That's 2 months' time.
Yeah.
And the 19th.
So make I ask you a question. If you find some Jamaican, them is willing to sponsor the plane for everything, or Jamaican from Jamaica get involved in that?
Well, I'm just reading what the BBC has put out. They would like to invite Jamaicans to tender with their family to come on.
Yeah, what I say, so maybe they talk about Jamaicans in England.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So what are the Jamaicans outside of England? We are listening to this now.
Well, they would have to phone her up and find out.
Yeah, but is it possible? I them not say nothing about Jamaicans outside of England then?
No, definitely, because what it said is to give the family a feel of what their parents or grandparents would have experienced when they first came here. So that is the people who born here. That's what it's saying. You understand?
No, me understand what you say, but come like you X out, them are X out the Jamaican there, so because a whole heap of Jamaican there, so have parents and grandparents in England.
Right.
But they would have like know how, them never experienced England yet, so they would have really like know how it feel when them grandparents would go there. I mean, the people them in England, the youth them don't know experience in England already.
Right. Oh, I see what you mean. So yes. Well, give it a phone. Give them a phone call. I'll give you a number. You know, I don't
Get the number again. Get the number again. Because maybe some lucky Jamaican were there, so we just get a headway into it. Because we have a way to get into things. Get the number again.
Yeah. The number is 207-2419-399. I think I've said it slowly.
Who you answer?
Well, it said Ingrid Riley.
Ingrid Riley.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a good information. Right. All right.
Right. Okay, let me move on. I'm just going to tell you about the disappointment about a few people that I've spoken to. Most of the British people very surprised with the poll. There was a poll conducted by U.S. pollster Bill Johnson for the Gleaner, where 60% of Jamaica said they believe Jamaica would be better
with the Queen.
With the British monarchy. And they were very
late last year them said that true Portia come to that now. Why them bring up that again? Last year them said that.
Right. All right. I'm just going to tell you a little about what the government here is proposing now.
Mm-hmm.
The government, British government, to send copies of King James Bible to all English schools by this April. And I'm just going to read what they're saying. To mark the 400th anniversary of the translation of the King James. Right.
Yeah.
Have you heard about it?
Them quote me in a National Geography about it, you know.
Right.
They go get a National Geography.
Yeah. So
you know the magazine?
The department?
You know the magazine? The National Geography.
The Department of
Education.
Ask
if you know the magazine. Wait, let me ask if you know the magazine. You don't know the magazine there? It's a 100-year-old magazine. It's very popular.
Yeah. What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
It's named National Geography.
National Geography.
A geographic magazine. Yeah. You never hear about it yet?
I think so.
All right. Well, it's a famous. It's a famous magazine. You talk about the King James version of the Bible. There is a edition that deals with the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible. I think it's the November edition, where the only little island we feature in it is Jamaica and Rasta, and there is a quote in there by me and Miguel, two Rastaman. That is a landmark. That's a historical thing now, because if them quote two Rastaman in there in a them King James anniversary thing, it means it's a big thing. I mean, Jamaica don't know the magazine more than so still, but it's a big thing. So tomorrow morning you go in your magazine stand and ask for the magazine there and you will see it. So you can continue. Hello? It's a good. It's a good. We talk about that. We talk about the one time talk. Yeah, I the first member get cut off. It's where I go on. He might go call back, you know, because more I hear much about it. But anyway, we mentioned it from last year, you know, say them feature Rasta in the National Geographic magazine. So anybody who interested can go, they go get the magazine. I think it's a November issue. It's the 400th anniversary of the printing of the King James Bible. And in it, them send some man down here for interview. What them I try to do is to show how different people use the Bible, the King James Bible, in a different countries. And them choose Jamaica to come, and them choose to come interview Rasta. You understand? So, and them have a big picture of the Bobo chant to them in the magazine. in a Bobo Hill, a big picture in there, pretty, beautiful picture of the Bobo them in the magazine. So it's wonderful. I have to say, it's wonderful that we so large that people have to fly, come down, you have to find out what we think about the King James Bible. You understand? So, for those of you who have access to the magazine, as I say, I think it's a November edition, but any one of them where you go in there and see it mark 400 years of the King James Bible is the one that we are talking about, right? The Virgin, what the Virgin can call back. This is the Cutting Edge and RFM, as we are saying, continuing the feminine energy on the Cutting Edge for the whole of this month. Next week, we're going to feature a sister who deal with body care. All sort of body care with products and all these things. We are going to feature a long time. We're supposed to have her on the radio right now. We never put her on the radio, but next year we're going to put her on the radio. We're going to say the brother I call back. Yes, Virgin.
Yes, Muta.
Oh, I know him. Yes.
Yes, Muta.
Yes, sir.
It's good to hear you as a Rasta man so that when you die, the world end, you know?
Yeah, man. When me dead, the world will end.
No, why I said that?
Because me don't know nothing else will happen.
No, why I said that? Man like Jacob Miller,
Yeah.
Peter Tosh, Bob Marley, Jalile, and Martin Moplana. Muta Baruka, hear all of them, man, so they can't dead and they dead.
Then me, when you hear me say that?
Eh?
You hear me say me can't dead?
No, me say, you hear all of them, man, there.
Yeah, what me no business with them I say. Me no business with them I say, Virgin. Me I say what me I say. Me I say, after me dead, the world end. At least when me dead, the world end. Me not... Oh, you mean them I say them can't dead? Then them not dead?
Yeah, but then I tell you, say, I want can believe a lot that time too.
Yeah, well, me not let them believe they not Virgin. Me not follow belief, you know.
Oh.
A reality me I look on. Me everybody live in the same world, you know. We all have dead Virgin. I just saw it go.
Yeah, man, you know, see Queen Mother is a great woman, you know.
Yeah, me not afraid to talk about that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muta, Queen Mother is a great woman, you know.
Yeah.
Remember last time you interviewed her and asked her to give you something about the Prime Minister. And
Bruce
she said, pressure. That pressure right out, you know, man.
You know, say me go for play the thing. You know, say you're the third person bring it up and say me should have played. You know, say she say a peer pressure gonna reach Bruce Golding.
What a woman, great man.
And about 2 years before that, she said to you know.
Well, Queen Mother, anywhere, then if you listening, respect you, sister, you're great.
Yeah.
What a woman, great man.
The man said, wait, I have so much things that go on and through there.
This is a madman come on and chat foolishness there, but...
Who that?
All for this, you know, blessing.
Oh, some different phone I go on there, so wait, this is where I go on there, so.
How that, so?
I'm Motor Baroka, this, you know.
I will move at 12, you know.
Then you call the station.
Yes.
Then you come on and stand and man me that talk. How that go?
And I realize the man just come in and chat up for foolishness.
No, I'm not talking the foolishness, man.
Anyway, you see the movements of England?
Yeah.
If you are good, remember the 12 bar comes side of you. Yes, can you know?
They know England you live. No England you live, man.
We don't live there all the while. We don't live there all the while, but my mother live there.
Yeah.
Not him too well right now. I do some medication and thing, but my brother did it, sister did it.
What?
And you know, so we have some track music to play up this year. So me now back out of this. Any time the brother line up and him say, yeah, England, yeah, make sure.
But every time you go there, me see you. But every time you go there, you did it. So you say you don't live there?
I true, man, me used to do enough things, man. Yeah, because me all involved in the Birmingham Senior Citizen Association, but through my boss drop out and, you know, things kind of run a different way. But we want to go there with the Rasta car. Me see England for me head this time, you know. So I just go and work and save me little cent, man.
All right, sir.
Anytime you're ready, for 12 for you, sir.
All right, sir.
I'm afraid to play the music. I know the reparation and big tune.
Big tune, yeah, me remember it. Yeah, man. All right, brethren, give thanks.
All right, put up pure love.
Yes, all right. Virgin, I tell you, if survive long, you know, Virgin, they survive long. Yeah, Cutting Edge.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
Oh, okay, all right. Just a correction, Muta. The National Geographic magazine, it's the December
issue?
Yeah, December issue.
You have it?
Yes, man, I have it right here.
Them sell it out here?
Yes, they sell
Where
it.
them sell it?
Most bookstores.
You serious?
Yeah, man. Most bookstores. But they don't carry a lot of them. Usually the bookstores they carry like 3. Like many of them just carry like 1 or 2 or 3 issue every month.
But them should have stack up a whole heap of them because Jamaica.
Apparently it doesn't go very much. Apparently mainly like the libraries have them and people would normally go and read the issues at the library.
Where you buy your own? Because maybe like how we talk about it now, there's going to be a rush for it.
Because December issue has passed, I think persons would definitely, you're right, they would have to go and order it.
Oh gosh, man.
But songsters,
usually carry it.
Yeah, Kingston Bookshop, Bookland, New Kingston usually have it.
And I send gone for it, you know.
Oh yes, it's to me. I get it, man, because I read it and it was, I found it so fascinating that quotes from Michael Miguel Lone and a Rastafarian lawyer and Muta Baruka, we're well represented in it. I like it. I like what's happening and the picture
nice.
Man, tell you, the Jamaican man, them look good in the picture. Yeah, black and strong. You know what I mean? Right. We love it. We love it.
Give thanks.
It's all good. Thank you, Muta.
Yeah. So it's December issue of it. December issue. I forgot to remember that. I will tell people say the November issue to look for. But I guess as you look at the cover, you see it mark. 400 years of the King James Bible. Yeah, that's beautiful. Sister says the December issue. All right. So now, as we are saying. I could go back to this saga. Yeah.
The credit kind of low still, but you see, you read a lady, mother lady there.
You talk about Queen Mother again?
Yeah, she look every nail for the head car. You remember she did say something about Vice Cartel law?
Yeah, she said Vice Cartel and she said about Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And she said Bruce Goldie.
I like to play it again still, because I don't want to keep it out.
All right, we have a look for you. Yeah, true, man, true. I will for people allude to it. Because especially when they go out with Bruce Golding, and they say, why, the woman, the dangerous
and around 2 years.
Yeah, it's up, yeah. All right, Reggie.
Let's say,
yeah. All right. So, we're going to line up this interview, yeah? Sorry, this documentary I saw about the Queen of Sheba. Cutting edge, make way. Set the thing in order first. Yes, one of the big tune them in the 50s. Higgs and Wilson, Manio. For those of you who follow up the history of Jamaican music. As a matter of fact, February we're going to present a program, the history of Jamaican music. Ska, reggae, dub, dancehall. We're going to present the history of Jamaican music. We're going to tell you which program, but yeah, for those of you who don't know, that tune, Manio, was produced by former Prime Minister Edward Siaga. Yes, he produced it, Manio, Higgs and Wilson. Okay, this is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. We're there with you.
Brothers and sisters, this is Chad. Join us with respect for our nation.
Wrong button. Yeah. You see it now? All right, make way. I had to touch things that I don't believe you. We had touched the wrong button, Dave. Wrong button, not touch. All right, make we start over. Well, your sister will give you the bird pepper sucker them, you know. Yeah, when we are come from Rebel Salute, we stop our house there. Pantapa, what them call a mountain there again? Dangerous Hill there, yes. In a Mandeville there. We want big up the sister who have our church and the biggest rosemary tree may ever see. And the bird pepper sucker them. Now me think it's just like how them put effort for plant Scotch bonnet pepper. Them should have put effort for plant bird pepper. Because I think say there is a big market for cayenne pepper. And a whole of people don't know say the cayenne pepper is bird pepper. It's the same bird pepper that is cayenne pepper, you know. And if you go in every health food store in the world, you see cayenne pepper. You will hardly see Scotch bonnet pepper. Scotch bonnet pepper almost like appeal to a kind of ethnic market, which is basically Jamaican market. If you go to England, you're in a Brixton, you see whole heap of cayenne pepper. If you go in a Brooklyn and Bronx and them places, cayenne pepper. It's like it almost appeal to an ethnic Jamaican market. But you see bird pepper, I think say we should have the Minister of Agriculture. Who are the Minister of Agriculture now? Roger Clark. For those of you who know Roger Clark and listen to this program, could you tell Mr. Clark that Muta Baruka is suggesting a new, what we call now, export capability? Bird pepper is very easy to grow. You don't need no woolly petting and pandering. You don't have to put no fertilizer upon it. And if you don't put no fertilizer upon it, it's much better because the people them are dealing with organic things, you know. And bird pepper, the yield for bird pepper is enough. One pepper tree, I mean, when we crush up my bird pepper, I'm putting a one buckle there with some lime juice, oil and all them something there. And enough sauce that. But could somebody tell Mr. Roger Clark that Muta Baruka and the cutting edge at after 11 at the night is suggesting that we cultivate bird pepper? Because we never cultivate bird pepper. And we see bird pepper as a thing where bird just drop the seed and it grow. But bird pepper, which is also known as cayenne pepper, is a very big thing in a health food store. There's no health food store in the world that don't carry cayenne pepper. And cayenne pepper is very good for cuts and ulcers, ironically. No, a man might have said, Muta, what kind of madness that you talk about? You put pepper on cut. Yes, cayenne pepper, good for cut. The idea of pepper, might put it on a cut. But I not talk in a theory. I not talk theory. I talk practical. I come out of the classroom and go in the field and use myself as the experiment. And if you have a cut, you can squeeze the juice of the just take one bird pepper and squeeze it in the cut. You find say it is also what them call it like Dettol, but it don't burn like Dettol. Ironically, it don't burn like Dettol. And people who are listening to me might be scared of it, but trust me, I'm not talking theory. I'm talking practical livity. Bird pepper can go up and cut, just like turmeric. Turmeric can go up and cut, but we are talking about bird pepper now. Bird pepper good for ulcer. The thing with bird pepper, even though it do have a seasoning taste like Scotch bonnet pepper, it burn you and stop. Nobody could suggest. I wouldn't suggest bird pepper. I wouldn't suggest Scotch bonnet pepper if you have an ulcer. But I would suggest bird pepper if you have an ulcer, because bird pepper is cayenne pepper. No Jamaican people don't know that. We need to cultivate bird pepper, as we call it, cayenne pepper. We need to cultivate it. We need to have fields and fields of cayenne pepper growing in Jamaica, that we can have a production house. We just apart from just making sauce, we just dry the bird pepper and just crush it, powder it, and send it away. Just like how we are sending over coffee, just like how we are sending over Scotch bonnet pepper. I don't know nobody will export bird pepper. So we are giving Jamaica an idea, so now. We need to have a cultivation started in Jamaica of bird pepper, Because bird pepper have market out there. There's no doubt about it, especially if Jamaica people here say it come from Jamaica. Say cayenne pepper from Jamaica. Wow. A big market that. So, yes, we just say we need to look into that as an alternative. I mean, no, say the Scotch bonnet pepper big and bold and thing, but as me say, most of the time when I see Scotch bonnet pepper, it's not the ethnic market them. It's in a Brooklyn, Bronx, Brixton, you know, Birmingham, where Jamaican people gather and all these things. But cayenne pepper is an international thing. International. People use cayenne pepper more than how them use Scotch bonnet pepper. So, Jamaica, we need to export some cayenne pepper to Trinidad. We need to export some cayenne pepper to Trinidad. So, all right now, we say we're going to give you this documentary. It's about the Queen of Sheba. Now, my first connection with Queen of Sheba is through, as we are saying, movie. But then, watching the movie never have no significance to me until me turn Rasta. So Rasta bring a new light to this black history that we couldn't connect. And just like how the church don't really show away the feminine energy in our spirituality, because we are come from a Western mindset where the feminine energy is not recognized. The Roman Catholic Church is the only church I know in the Western world that elevate the woman to a divinity. Why we say that? Because when I used to go to church, I used to hear them say, Holy Mary, Mother of God. That still never have no significance to me when I hear about Holy Mary, Mother of God. But since I start to examine and start to look into things, I realize the philosophy of Isis out of Egypt, which penetrate Greece and Roman religious practices and belief. One of the reasons for the putting down of the feminine energy in a Rome was because it did not give too much power, too much credence to that divinity that project into the feminine energy. So them use the patriarchal Christianity to, even though the man who do it was the Roman emperor, one of the ways we get out this feminine power, because the ISIS doctrine was one of the biggest doctrine in Rome. And one of the ways we get out this feminine power out of the ISIS, out of Rome, was to infiltrate it with the Christian mindset, even though the same Romans used to persecute the Christians. Because you have a time when Christianity was seen as a pagan religion. Yes, in Rome, Christianity was a pagan religion. It was an alien thing. But Constantine draw in Christianity, and one of the reasons for drawing this Christian mindset is for really get rid of the ISIS mindset that did permeate all of Rome in them time there. So the feminine energy still continue in one of the doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church, where they say, Holy Mary, Mother of God. No, the Roman Catholic Church is the only church in the world, not in the world, in the Western world, because the Ethiopian Orthodox Church still elevate the Virgin Mary and recognize her as something to be reckoned with in the divinity of the Trinity. Even though them still follow Rome by saying God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. In the birth of human being, you have to have the female energy. In the resurrection and the new birth, you have to have the female feminine energy. It's only in Christianity you're born of a woman once, but you're born of two men after you resurrect. And when we talk about resurrect now, we're not talking about dead physically and rise up physically. We are talking about, like what Haile Selassie say, we need to be a new creation. The rebirth, the resurrection is the birth of the new being in them spirituality. So we are looking at the resurrection of the spirituality come forth or come first in the consciousness. So in order to bring about that resurrection and that born again, you can't born again with God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. Because right away you have God the Father and God the Son. And them say the Father and the Son is one. So if the Father and the Son is one, where is the feminine energy that allows for the creation of life? Not only in the first instance, but in also the second instance. The second instance is where them would call the resurrection. You're born again. If you're born again, you have to born coming from the feminine energy. And you link it with that what we call masculinity of the male energy. And so it was in Egypt, where you have Isis, Horus, and Osiris. The male, the man, the male, the son, the female, the mother. When we reach into Christianity now, because of the patriarchal mindset and the need to move the femininity of the divinity of human beings, we are not allowed to exalt the feminine energy. So most religion X out the feminine energy. So we have a world of patriarchal mindset that is trying to go back to the womb, trying to be born again without the feminine energy. I argue say there is no rebirth, there is no born again without the recognition of the feminine energy. There's no rebirth, no form, no energy that can continue without the feminine rebirth. And that is what most religion, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, try to move away from. So when we look on the first birth, one would agree that when a man born, him born of a woman, the rebirth must be of a woman also. And if we look at the Christian doctrine, Yeshua born of a woman, but them say she's a virgin. Yet still, the concept of virgin, they're there for years. In a different mythology, you did have the concept of virgin. And the virgin was not intended to mean she never have no sex or she never get touch with a man. It never did intend to mean that. That come down because the patriarchal mind in these religions cannot conceive or perceive that the female is the main aspect of the divinity of human being. And without that feminine energy, there's no redemption. So we look on ancient philosophies before it get twanted by Constantine, before it get thwarted by all of these patriarchal mindset. When we look on it, we see say the female, and if you look on Christianity, ancient Christianity, if you read the Bible, you see the first person that Yahshua appeared to was a woman. And if you look on them ideas about the cross and who was at the foot of the cross, a two woman. And if you look on how it got through both in a orthodoxy and in a Catholic, Roman Catholicism, you see, if Mary is the mother of God, according to Catholic tradition, and when we look in the Egyptian tradition, Isis is the mother of Horus, which is the sun, physical, make manifest on earth through that mythology. The sun in the sky make manifest on earth through Isis' son Horus, meaning say now the Father and the Son is one. And the reason why the church them in the Eastern Orthodox Church them split, because them couldn't come to agreement who was this so-called man with them called Jesus. Was he God, man, or is there different natures of this man? So the Orthodox Church them say is one. God the Father and God the Son. The Father and the Son is one. But then now, we need a mother. And Mary, Miriam, is the mother. But guess what now? Most of them get rid of the woman out of the whole thing. It's a serious problem. So we look on the formation of this idea from Isis in Egypt to Isis in Greece to Isis in Rome, and now Isis become Mary in the church. But the church get rid of this idea because them don't want to look on the African retention of Mary, or the concept of Mary, or the concept of the sun in the sky, because that is how the concept come, and the concept of the Father and the Son being one, and the relevance of the female in this. So why we say all of that? We say all of that for show you that within the concept of Judaism, there is a root that was chosen according to Judaism. And this root was divided from Israel. And this root was the tribe of Judah. So Judah became a separate entity from Israel. One of them went into Babylon and one of them went into Assyria. And them say the tribe split up. But it's in Judah, according to Jewish Bible, that this Savior is recognized in Judah. And the king of Israel, the second king, is from the tribe of Judah, which is David. And then it follows into Solomon. So now, what we have now is the idea of the masculinity of the house of Israel. It's perpetuated by 12,000 men, priests that there was none of them who was women. But then now, here comes the Ethiopian story. And the legend is that there was a woman by the name of Makeda who's going to now transmit the seed of Israel, the seed of Judah, into a next land and give that land prominence and recognition in the house of Israel, in the house of Judah. So according to the legend of Ethiopia, this Makeda went to visit Solomon and she get impregnated and went back to Ethiopia and started the lineage that is now called the house of Judah, or what we call now the dynasty of Judah, David, King Solomon. So the emperors of Ethiopia claim descendant from the house of David because of this Makeda, who was impregnated by the son of David named Solomon and went back to Ethiopia. And they say that Emperor Haile Selassie-I, which is the last emperor to sit in Ethiopia, is the 225th king from this union with Solomon and Sheba. Now, a whole heap of people hear Rasta talk continuously, and them don't understand that there is a reason why Rasta say what them say, and it don't just come out of just smoking ganja and just go on like we are idiot. It's after analysis, it's after looking into historical datas, and after recognizing our position in this part of the earth. We come to conclusion based upon for something else. Just like how everybody else come to conclusion based upon for other things. So when the Rasta say Haile Selassie is the 225th king from Solomon and Sheba, it is because of the legend that is written in a book named the Kebra Negas. The book named where we say so now? Oh, I'm called back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. If you call back. All right. Anyway, we can continue the story. Rasta is saying that, look here, for hundreds of years, as a matter of fact, for 5,000 years, this story keep a group of people named the Ethiopians intact. The story vanished away because the Western world manipulate the doctrine of Christianity. The Western world control the thoughts of most people in the Western world and some parts in the Eastern world too. So the ideas seem to be peripheral. When you hear the Rasta talk, it's like a peripheral argument. Yet till it was the main argument at the time. Because Christianity never started in Europe. Egypt, Christianity started, and most of the systems and the belief of Christianity come out of Egypt. And it get twist and turn and bring round till it reach where it reaches now through wars and through force. Christianity become the main religion in the Western world, not because people accepted it more than other religion, but because it had the force behind it. It had the force to manipulate the minds, the political ideology, fashioned with the religion of the state, help bring about the power of Christianity upon the world. Go back, go check this, you will see it, that most of the wars that has been fought in the world was fought in the name of God. Which God? The Christian God. So, where we are saying now that this story of this woman was not only found in Ethiopia. This woman that it is said went to visit Solomon was not only found in Ethiopia, but because the empire of Ethiopia stretched it so far, even to the west of India. into Yemen and all these places, the empire of Ethiopia stretch. There are stories about this woman outside of the Kebranegas, outside of the Ethiopian legends. There are stories about this woman. So it's not only Ethiopia lay claim to this woman. This woman lay claimed also across the Red Sea into Yemen and all these places. And it's a very interesting story because just like Nani, who a lot of people create stories around that is so far-fetched and sometimes even ridiculous that people now starting to say maybe Nani was not a real woman. This woman supposed to catch bullet in her bottom and all sort of magical things that surround Nani. It's the same way with this queen. That there's so much mythology and so much legends and so much stories that is around this woman that people question the legitimacy of her existence. This is the cutting edge and IRFM. We want to just make the people them know, say, it's a serious documentary where you're not going to hear it on no other radio station. Believe you me. You're not going to hear it on no other radio station. Because if we didn't know these things before, we would have a different perception of ourselves. And issue would have to be rewritten. Not from the conqueror perspective, but from the perspective of the conquered. The thing with it is that when the hunter killed the lion, it's a game. But when the lion killed the hunter, it's a savage beast. Think about that. When the hunter killed the lion, it is a game. When the lion killed the hunter, he's a savage beast. When the conqueror writes your story, he's writing it in the interests of himself and his children. And if the conquered becomes literate and informed and don't rewrite these stories, we will always be savage and beastly. We need to examine all the stories, whether we write it or not, and come to conclusions about these stories that was given to us by Europeans and by people who feel that because they are converted to the European perception of what is godly. These people who claim that they're black, and when you try to show them a different perspective, they look down on you. They say, why are you coming with these stories now? It's foolishness. How can you tell a man say I talk foolishness if you never examine what I say? Or you come to the conclusion that 1 and 1 is 2. Or 2 and 2 is 4. I noticed that most market people can't read. Not most, but a whole heap of my granny. Don't tell me I talk about my granny. My granny, she hardly could have read. But guess what? She know if you count money. You can't fool my granny with money when she in a Coronation Market and I check out her money Saturday evening time for go home, for go to church Sunday morning. You can't give my granny no wrong money. And when my granny, if you buy pound of chocho, pound of yam, pound of tomato, half pound of scallion, this and this and that, and she say, that have a 50 cent, that have a 40 cent, that have a 30 cent, that have a 20 cent. By the time you take up the thing, them still say, you owe me that. That time you don't have a chance to check your money yet, to find out if you have enough. And when you sit down there and check, you come to the same sum total as she. So one thing me know say, the reality it is this, that when a man tell you 2 and 2 is 4, you have that in your mind as a theory. But the practicality it is that when him give you 2 something and the next 2 something, him add it and say a 4, so you're supposed to give him 4 something. Now black people who religious, especially in the Christian mindset, them not like hear nothing will challenge them belief system. Them not like hear nothing. If you tell them, say, you know, say all of them, whole heap of them Christian belief they come from something where you that it call paganism. Them no want to hear that. Them things say, yeah, you just say that because you try fight against Christianity. Not fight against Christianity because you know, say, within the realms of this doctrine, there's so much misinformation that was given to us that it lead us wide. Why the phone ring us? I hear what the man say. Yes, cutting edge.
Yes, Muta, I'm back.
You know, easy, you know. All right, go on. We have 5 minutes, so we have 7 minutes to 12.
Right. Well, actually, you know, I completed most of about Jamaica. Yeah, basically. Well, coming up in this year in July, we have the Ska Heritage Festival that is in London.
What would they plan
it? They didn't say, but they just give us a sneak preview, you know. And you know, I mentioned a story about the PIP faulty breast implant. Well, ladies are start demonstrating because they have 40,000 women in the UK that need those.
Oh yeah. That talked about it last week, or week before.
Right. Well, it's getting out of control now. So women started to demonstrate, and especially with one clinic in London. But the clinic in London saying that they can't afford to replace them free because it will put them out of business. So that is happening. And right, and of course the army will be making 4,000 soldiers redundant. That's the Secretary of Defense just announced that. And and many more things. But Muta, before I go, I just want to take you up on this little issue here. I already talking about Solomon and so on. Are you there?
Yeah, man, me there.
Yeah. You know, in Birmingham, in UK and in Birmingham in particular, we have what we call a Black Studies course. It's a 1-year course. It's run over 30 weeks. Very brilliant course. And the course was set up about 15 years ago by the one Robin Walker, who put out this brilliant book, When We Rule. I don't know if you have a copy of that book.
And I was at the launch, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Right.
We know the brethren. I have a copy of the book.
Oh, you have a copy. Great. Well, probably don't need to go through this then. It's just because...
No, go through it for the people. Them now, I mean, not because me have it, I go through it. Where I say? Go through the book, man. Where you talk about?
People, we have this myth that... I don't know if it's a myth, really, but I have this Jehovah Witness people come to my house, right? And they were trying to say that the whole idea of Abraham come down to Solomon and the end come down to Jesus are Asiatic type people. Asiatic type people, you know. And if I didn't went on this course, I would have believed what he says. And it's totally nonsense because I pull out my notes and I draw for information by Diodorus Siculus, a Greek historian that were writing 50 BC, 50 years before the birth so-called birth of Jesus. And hear what he says. He said, now the Ethiopians, which is Africans, as historian related, were the first of all men. And he said, and the proof of this statement, they say, are manifested, for that they did not come into their land as immigrants from abroad, but were native of it. So I pull out these things and show him. They couldn't believe, you know. So we have to dismiss some of those myths that people that we are reading.
Well, is that we just talk about before you come on back, you know? Is that we just talk about the miseducation, even in our religion and our perception of religious belief? Is that total miseducation we get?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. And you know, I could even draw for different. We have Albert Church who was writing again in the 1930s, where he said the first of all Paleolithic man was the pygmy who was evolved in Central Africa as the source of the Nile Valley. So there's so many people writing about the truth that people don't really see, you know. But I'm trying to I've done this course. I've done it for the course, and I'm trying to see how I can put it together when I'm back in Jamaica to set it up so that I can educate the people about the truth about what we need to know. So, well, thanks for having me again, and just to apologize again for the disconnection, and would just like to let the people know that they should keep tuning to the cutting edge with Muta Baruka.
Blessed man, give thanks.
Right.
Yes.
So like you're far away, man.
No, man, I listen to you, know, Bridget. Watch me while I the studio, you know. So if you hear me move from near the thing, I become me I do something, but me I listen to you, me have the headphone by my head. Okay, let me just say this. The government is recommend that people eat here in the UK, eat no more than 70 grams of meat per day, because they're realizing that the meat is causing cancer, as a study carried out by one professor, Susanna Larson, from a Karolinska Institute. She told the BBC that eating meat increased the risk of colorectal cancer. And she said eating an extra 50 grams of meat, processed meat, or one sausage per day could increase the risk of pancreatic cancer. You're serious?
They're definitely saying it, you know.
Yeah.
It's from the medical journal. It's from the British Medical Journal.
Yeah.
It's just a research that they just put out, and she also recommend that people should truly really avoid red meat because it's no good. It's dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah.
That them said that in England.
Yes, definitely.
Which newspaper that come out in a version? Let me go find it.
It's what newspaper I got it from? Gosh.
All right, and when you find it, call me and tell me. Or text me the newspaper.
Yes, I will, because you know I've got information from so many different sources. You know.
Yeah, man. Text me the newspaper.
Yes, they're saying it's dangerous, and people should avoid it. And of course, I've got a friend just died. He's 37 and he died from cancer. He's a teacher, and they just he's just been shipped back down to Jamaica to bury this Sunday. He has cancer.
All right, Bridge. We have to move now. Give thanks. We have to move.
All right, good.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Christianity and Islam, in Arabian folklore as well as the earliest stories of Ethiopia, the Queen of Sheba is a magical figure that appears as if from nowhere. But what is the truth behind this remarkable queen and the kingdom she ruled?
She may be the memory of a genuine historical queen. She might be a composite memory of several different female figures who ruled the lands of the sands in ancient times. Scholars can't quite pin her down, and this is probably something that adds to her legendary status.
The search to discover more about this mythical queen and her long-vanished kingdom begins in the desert of southern Yemen, notorious for its banditry. The expedition's patron is 76-year-old Marilyn Phillips Hodgson, whose archaeological team has come to the ruined city of Marib, once the capital of a mighty trading empire. The Arabs called it Saba. The Jews called it Sheba. Close by the city, hidden beneath thousands of tons of desert sand, lie the remains of Marib's greatest shrine, the Mahram Bilqis, the Temple of Sheba. Marilyn's reason for coming here dates back half a century. In 1952, her brother Wendell led a team of American archaeologists to Yemen and took along a camera crew to film the expedition. A larger-than-life adventurer who helped inspire the character of Indiana Jones, Wendell set to work excavating the site, employing 160 Bedouin laborers to help uncover an immense structure undisturbed for more than 1,000 years. Slowly, a grand courtyard emerged, and with it, evidence of a forgotten empire, the Sabaeans. Inscriptions suggested that the temple and the images within it were dedicated to a fertility god, Al-Makka. Since traditional Arabic folklore often associated Sheba with an ancient fertility cult, the findings reinforced the team's belief that evidence for her really might be found here. Then, cruel fate intervened. The hostility of local warlords reached a crescendo. Following death threats, Phillips made the agonizing decision to pull himself and his team out of the Yemen. Wendell Phillips would never return to Yemen. Struck down by a series of strokes, he was nursed through the last few years of his life by his sister Marilyn. In the decades that followed, Yemen closed itself to the outside world. The desert reclaimed the temple.
We never talked about me doing it. He was coming out. You know, he was going to do it. So when he got a second heart attack and suddenly, you know, it was over, there wasn't even any thought about it. You know, it had to be.
Like her brother before her, Marilyn is convinced that evidence for the Queen of Sheba will be discovered here in the Mahram Bilqis. Modern Yemen remains a dangerous place. For centuries, it was closed to outsiders. After a quarter of a century of pleading with the Yemeni authorities, she has been allowed to return to the ancient temple.
I believe that a Queen of Sheba must have existed. Why would these stories permeate so many people's lives, especially in the Arabian Peninsula? They believe so strongly in this. And why would it have lasted all these centuries?
Amid heavy security, excavation has begun at the ancient site. The team hope to find evidence that the Queen of Sheba worshipped here. They have just a month. After that, the authorities can no longer guarantee their safety.
Oh, I never saw that, huh? Wow.
Leading Maryland's archaeological team is Professor Bill Glansman from the University of Calgary, Canada. An expert on the archaeology of Yemen, Bill has elected to excavate previously untouched parts of the site in the hope that they may shed new light on the Sabaeans and their most famous queen.
The sanctuary here, Mahram Bilqis, is important because we have the ancient Sabaean kingdom centered here at Marib. This is a great historical center in that sense. It's also the largest pre-Islamic sanctuary that we've yet discovered in the Arabian Peninsula. There were always very powerful queens. Some of them would rise up to fame and glory, such as some of the Egyptian queens like Hatshepsut and Cleopatra, for example. But this Queen of Sheba is a little bit different. Without her name, we can't identify her actually as a historical figure. We need to find some link, if there is one, to find the historical reality of that queen and the stories that surround her.
The site covers 60,000 square meters, more than the size of 8 football fields, and every inch must be cleared by hand. Progress is slow, constantly hampered by dust devils that appear and disappear without warning. In Arabic folklore, These desert whirlwinds, sometimes called jinn or genie, have an intimate connection with the legendary Queen of Sheba. For in old Bedouin tales, Sheba was born of such a spirit. According to a fable set in Sheba's ancient capital of Marib, then a grand and prosperous city, there lived among the many merchants a beautiful spirit called Umayya. Umayya fell madly in love with an important advisor to the king, and from their illicit affair, a daughter was born. Half human, half genie. They named the child Bilqis and gave her to the spirits of the desert to raise. As she grew up, Bilqis learned from passing caravans that an evil king had come to rule Marib. One night she slipped into the king's chamber and plunged a dagger through his heart, saving the people of Sheba and replacing him as their ruler. 2 weeks into the dig, and Marilyn's hopes are raised of finding a link between the site and the legend of the Queen of Sheba. A telltale inscription emerges from the sand.
Oh my God! Huh? Woo! This is a really big structure, isn't it? Solid.
It mentions a king here, of a king, and we have here also.
The inscriptions support the idea that the temple was a royal building.
We have Damar Ali, king of Saba.
The inscriptions are like billboards. They proclaimed royal edicts and offered devotions to the temple's god.
It's a kind of decree.
Wendell never saw this, or never saw the inside.
But if this really was a royal building, it will surely contain additional royal inscriptions, perhaps even royal graves. Wendell Phillips had been associated with the Queen of Sheba. But modern dating techniques have completely overturned traditional assumptions about the site's age.
We do know that the sanctuary goes back at least as early as the time of King Solomon, around 950 to 900 BC, and actually much earlier than that, for over 500, 600 years earlier, would suggest that if there is any connection at all to be found with a single historic figure, a single Queen of Sheba, it will be found here.
Could this temple house the last resting place of the real Queen of Sheba? During the 10th century BC, when the Queen of Sheba is thought to have lived, the city of Marib was a great commercial center, a stopping point for merchant caravans that crisscrossed the desert. It was a place to barter goods and exchange stories.
It's a culture that has an immensely rich oral tradition. And still you go out into the desert and at Bedouin campfires, you'll be amazed by the stories you will hear.
Traveling across this vast open landscape, merchants were an invaluable source of stories, gossip, and news. It would not have taken long for word to have spread of King Solomon, ruler of Israel. Stories about Solomon had spread far and wide. The construction of his temple had become famous all over Arabia for its grandeur. Renowned for his divinely inspired wisdom and his ability to speak with animals, it was said that Solomon could even command spirits. The Ethiopian holy book, the Kebra Nagast, says that news of this formidable king reached Sheba from a traveling merchant.
She heard of him being a very knowledgeable person. So therefore, in her attempt to build a very strong nation, she felt that she needed to go there and then learn from his wisdom, learn from his knowledge, so that she could come back and build her nation, even to make it stronger.
How Solomon heard of Sheba is explained in the Quran. In this version of events, Solomon's pet raven has been sent to find a missing hoopoe bird. a prized animal that has become lost in a far-off land. Guided home by the raven, the Hoopoe tells Solomon of a distant oasis ruled by a rich and beautiful pagan queen.
Well, at this point, Solomon wonders why someone that beautiful and that rich doesn't know who the real God is, and further has never come to him to pay tribute. So he sends a letter hung around the Hoopoe's neck, who delivers it to Sheba. She then takes it to her council of courtiers and says, "What should we do about this?"
However the letter actually reached Sheba, it seems clear that the message was an ultimatum. Sheba must pay tribute to Solomon or risk his wrath. The Bible records that Sheba's servants packed many gifts for Solomon, including gold, precious stones, and spices. But perhaps the real reason for her visit was not to bestow gifts, but to negotiate trade.
I think you look at the Bible and its account. There's some stuff about the power of Solomon and Sheba admiring his wisdom. But if you just scratch that surface just a little bit, you see the record of a trade agreement and the vast amount of goods that she brings Solomon. And in first listing them, the account does not say their presents. It just says she brings them. So I think there's two things going on. They exchange presents, but at first she is bringing an enormous amount of trade goods and saying, basically, here you are. Let's work out a deal.
One of the goods the ancient Sabaean kingdom possessed in abundance was frankincense, a fragrance the Israelites used in their religious ceremonies. Frankincense can still be bought in Yemeni markets today. Harvested from trees that only grow in the southern Arabian Peninsula and parts of East Africa, the ancient Sabaean kingdom would have had a virtual monopoly over it, generating unprecedented wealth. In thanks for their prosperity, the Sabaeans built their god Al-Makka, the largest shrine in all Arabia. It was the center of their universe, because without Al-Makka's blessing of rain, their whole fragile world would collapse. As the excavation progresses, a Bedouin worker makes a dramatic discovery.
Approximately 6 minutes ago, the workman was cleaning up in here, and he came upon, as you can see down here, a very large frieze with ibex heads.
No one has seen these carvings for 1,500 years, but they are in superb condition, a promising sign for Bill.
This is a real exciting moment. I'm almost at a loss for words. Wow. The ibex is one of the two zoomorphic representations of the deity Al-Makka. He's generally represented here by the bull in the inscriptions and by figurines, but here we have him represented also by the ibex. The importance of the inscription is tremendous also because it mentions the king's name.
Wendell Phillips' expedition in the early 1950s never got past the entrance hall.
After just 4 months of work and under much harassment and house arrest, this is what they revealed. We don't know what's in the Awam enclosure, the Great Circle, the Ovide, the Holy of Holies. We are mandated to get this sand out of there as fast as possible with the best and the latest scientific methods in a well-mannered, routine scientific way.
With only weeks to conduct their excavations, Maryland's team have harnessed the latest technology to peer directly beneath millions of tons of sand. Team member Brian Mormon is discovering a temple far bigger than even Wendell Phillips imagined.
50 years ago, when Wendell Phillips first came to the site, archaeologists' tools were rather limited, and you certainly couldn't see beneath the surface. Archaeology involved taking a look at the artifacts that were on the surface or any structures that were above the surface. Today, we're able to use geophysics to pinpoint locations that might be of interest and limit the amount of digging and limit the amount of disturbance and the amount of effort that goes into a site. The ground-penetrating radar work that we do here allows us to map the features underneath the surface in 3 dimensions. So we're able to reconstruct all the structures that are on the site as if all the sand had been taken away.
The radar works by sending pulses of energy into the ground. Different structures beneath the surface reflect this energy in differing amounts, allowing the temple to be mapped. With data from the survey, the sprawling layout of the Mahram Bilqis can at last be recreated. It reveals a half a dozen man-made structures that still lie untouched beneath the surface. But what purpose these structures serve and what they contain can only be confirmed by old-fashioned digging.
You know, who knows what we're going to find? You know, we didn't expect to find over here in this trench yesterday this ibex frieze. Who knows what's there?
Although frustratingly close, Sheba and her people remain just beyond reach in their sandy tomb. The tense situation is not helped by the increasing uneasiness of the guards. The team is running out of time. After days of scanning the sanctuary of the Queen of Sheba, team member Brian Mormon has uncovered a significant find in the temple enclosure.
When we were doing our ground-penetrating radar surveys here, we found a very small but very distinctive reflection coming from this location, some kind of underground void.
There are numerous buildings inside the sanctuary, but this pile of stones represents the most important feature that we can easily understand inside the sanctuary. The structure is a well, and the well here was used for possibly getting the water for ritual ablutions. It's approximately 3 meters below the surface, and we're just about to begin the excavation to try to uncover the wellhead.
This well would have been the very epicenter of the Sabaean Empire and a place of utmost fertility god, whose blessings were vital to the life of Marib.
In this kind of harsh environment, water is everything. It's a life-giving force. It's the most important thing that you can have out here. It may also explain why our sanctuary is located where it is. It's not in the city where most of the people would have easy access to worship at the temple. Rather, it's right in the middle of an ancient field system. I think that stresses the importance of the deity, Al-Makka, who controls that fertility of those fields.
Al-Makka was responsible for water and the life it created around Marib. 10 kilometers away from the site is an even more potent symbol of how vital water was to the life of Marib, the Great Marib Dam. Described in Arabian folklore as a miracle of engineering, the Marib Dam spanned 3,000 feet, twice the width of Colorado's Hoover Dam. It was built to contain twice yearly flash floods that struck the dam with a force of 2,000 tons of water and silt per second. Surging off the nearby mountains into a catchment area of 10,000 square kilometers, the dam was one of a series whose origins stretched back to 1500 BC. Royal inscriptions on these dams have helped establish the very first chronology of Sabaean rulers.
What we see here is very important. It's a Sabaean inscription. It tells us about the construction of this reservoir, this part of the dam, and for the distributing of the water, the flood, to the south oasis.
As yet, which of these rulers might have been the real Queen of Sheba remains unclear. But one thing is certain. Maintaining this all-important dam would have been one of the Sabaean queen's most fundamental obligations to her people. The dam harnessed the region's flash floods to create a fertile oasis of 24,000 acres.
And they built at Marib a agricultural scheme that has really not been equal to our day. A single dam that could water enough cropland to feed upwards of 40, 50,000 people, relying strictly on seasonal flash floods, an amazing achievement.
In the Quran, Sheba's homeland was known as the Garden of Two Paradises. The oasis that the Marib Dam created fits its description almost exactly. This highly sophisticated irrigation network allowed Marib to flourish as a wealthy and important center of trade.
Once that was in place, their living was pretty easy. And it got a lot easier when they realized that on top of that, they had these luxury goods, which the Romans and the Greeks and others further north lusted for. And with their caravans, they could make staggering profits, enough so that the Romans said that basically these were the richest people in the world.
Like the wealthiest cultures of the modern world, Sheba's Marib played host to skyscrapers, astonishing tower houses of mud brick and timber that stretched over 80 feet in the air. An echo of Marib's distinctive high-rise buildings can still be found in Yemen's modern capital of Sana'a. And like Sana'a, Marib would once have bustled with merchants and traders. They traded in many goods: gold from Africa, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, amber from Ethiopia. But the most important product of all was the Sabaean specialty, frankincense. The aroma of this precious incense was reputed to bring worshippers closer to their gods. So by the time it arrived in far-off Jerusalem, it was more valuable than gold. Protecting the trade routes to such far-flung places was another of the Sabaean monarch's most important duties. So perhaps the real motive for Sheba journeying to visit King Solomon was to protect or initiate a trade arrangement, an arrangement upon which her city depended. Today, Marib lies empty, the consequence of civil war over a generation ago. Now its only occupants are the occasional Bedouin family who make temporary homes amongst its ruined towers. But at the nearby archaeological site, Brian's underground scan has detected a previously unknown feature linking the city to the temple.
We're standing right on top of the western doorway right now that is perfectly in line with the ancient city of Marib. It's hypothesized that there was some kind of processional way along here that would lead the people from the city to the temple itself. After doing our geophysical surveys out in the western side of the site, we've done a couple of trial investigations and found 3¼ meters below the surface, and 2 of the holes so far, a stone surface that might be the processional walkway.
What might this processional way have meant for Sheba herself?
The symbolic significance of a processional way might be that it takes a long ways to get here, so you have time to think about what it is that you want to ask of the deity or thank the deity for intervening. But also along the way, as in our own cultures today, we have billboards and tall buildings that are icons and symbols of all sorts of issues of wealth and marketing and all of that. We have to imagine similar kinds of symbolism along the way here too, to make the pilgrim feel like they're coming into a place of holy sanctity.
On important days in the Sabaean calendar, pilgrims and their queen would have walked along this 8-kilometer processional way. Inscriptions on the temple walls tell us many of them had traveled from distant lands, and en route they would have brought an offering for their god. the temple itself, Bill and his team believe they have the most complete picture yet of how the ancient people of Saba worshipped at their most holy shrine.
We're standing here in front of the main entrance to the sanctuary known as the Mahram Bilqis, the sacred precinct of Bilqis. And Bilqis, of course, is Arab folklore's name for the otherwise nameless Queen of Sheba. We're right now coming through the central part of the peristyle hall, which was a large open hall with pillars around the sides and behind me that once had a covered walkway or portico around it. And imagine 4 meters below the sand beneath my feet, there were all sorts of dedications of the pious pilgrims laid all around in here. So many offerings made to Al-Makka, the most important deity of the ancient kingdom of Saba.
Combining the discoveries of Wendell Phillips with the latest data from the team's underground survey, it is now possible to create a vision of Southern Arabia's most spectacular shrine. It was along the temple's processional way that 3,000 years ago, the Queen of Sheba might have walked the night before she embarked on her perilous journey to Jerusalem. Queen, High Priestess, and now trade envoy, Sheba would have entered the temple through the 40-foot-high columns of the peristyle entrance.
Imagine going through that, smelling the fragrance of frankincense burning on altars, perhaps hearing the bleating of goats and sheep and other animals as they're being ritually sacrificed to the deity. Sculptures in gleaming bronze staring down at you, showing the presence of the deity. This must have been overwhelming.
Walking through the great hall, a set of doors led through to the most holy place of all, the temple's sacred enclosure. Fragments of bronze recovered from the enclosure suggest that it contained the most sacred idols of Sabaean culture. Among them, a towering 30-foot-high bull.
The bull in the ancient Semitic cultures is a storm god, or representation of a storm god. You have to think of the snorting of a bull and the hoofs trampling on the ground and that thunderous roar. It emulates the sound of thunderclaps, which always bring in rain. And the rain is absolutely critical because it's that water, that rainwater that falls, that helps to irrigate fields.
After offering a final blood sacrifice, the Queen of Sheba would have left her temple, beginning an epic 3,000-mile round trip to Jerusalem. Could such a journey really have taken place? And did Sheba seduce King Solomon? Evidence for the existence of a trade route between the ancient kingdoms of Saba and Israel have been confirmed by modern discoveries of Sabaean pottery in Jerusalem, a fact that makes it all the more probable that a Sabaean queen really might have undertaken such an important diplomatic mission. The incense route to Jerusalem saw heavy traffic, with merchants carrying exotic goods from all over the Middle East. But for a queen to make such a journey would have been very unusual. Snaking along the dried-up riverbeds, or wadis, the caravan would have traveled along the coast of the Red Sea and over the Jordan River. This exhausting expedition could have taken over 6 months, crossing some of the most hostile terrain on Earth. The Queen of Sheba's forthcoming meeting with Solomon would not be easy. He had a reputation for being among the wisest and most powerful men in the world. A cunning diplomat, he guarded his borders jealously. The Bible records that when Sheba entered Jerusalem, she was overwhelmed by Solomon's temple, built to house the Ark of the Covenant, the Jewish faith's most holy relic. The moment when the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon finally met has been immortalized by artists for centuries. Often portrayed as an exotic and mysterious woman, the Queen of Sheba is contrasted with Solomon as a man of wisdom. The Ethiopian holy book, the Kebra Nagast, describes their first meeting.
The first time that he saw her, he was totally taken by surprise. She's an extremely beautiful woman, and he received her in such a way that he recognized her greatness, and then he treated her accordingly.
However, an Arabian folktale portrays the event very differently. In its version of events, King Solomon heard that the foreign queen had the feet of a goat.
In the ancient world, many demons are composite figures. They will be part human and part creature. And in fact, that is some of the idea surrounding Sheba's supposedly unusual feat.
Wary that Sheba might indeed be a demon, Solomon devised a test. He scattered the floor with crystals. Mistaking them for a pool of water, the Queen of Sheba raised her skirt to step over them, revealing to Solomon's relief a woman's legs. The story has very clear symbolic meaning.
In the ancient world, hair is a feature of wildness. Animals bear hair. People wear clothes. When the stories try to give Sheba hairy legs, they are suggesting the wildness of this foreign woman.
Following their first introduction, the Bible goes on to say that Sheba tested Solomon with hard questions. The Quran tells us these questions took the form of riddles.
It's like our version of small talk. It was like testing the waters. It wasn't, I'm going to determine is Solomon's wisdom beyond belief or not. It was more like when business deals are done now, there's a lot of chit-chat that goes on for a while before you get down to the matter of the day. You find this in other cultures as well, particularly Mesopotamian culture. There's a long tradition of riddles between monarchs.
Not only do diplomats exchange riddles, and the Jewish historian Josephus told us that Solomon had riddle contests with Hiram, the king of Tyre. So Solomon likes this sort of thing. But in fact, we find that riddles are often exchanged at wedding feasts. So the very act of exchanging riddles shows that you are fit partners.
During her stay, lasting 3 years in some accounts, Solomon and Sheba discussed many subjects, including Solomon's God. Yet, despite the strength of her own desire, Sheba remained impervious to Solomon's frequent sexual advances.
He had this reputation of being a big womanizer. So as a result, perhaps it was part of his longer strategy.
The fullest account of the time Solomon and Sheba spent together is given in the Ethiopian Kebra Nagast. It describes how the two became inseparable, until eventually Sheba decided she must return to her own people. Tormented by his longing for her, Solomon pleaded with Sheba to stay. Reluctantly, she refused.
On the night before Sheba's departure, Solomon fed her a very spicy dinner and then kept her up very late so she couldn't return to her own palace. Sleep here, he says. Everything will be fine. Now, Sheba is very noble in this story and very proper. And she makes Solomon swear that he will not force her to any sort of encounter. And he says, fine, if you'll swear to me that you won't take anything from my palace. Well, Sheba's outraged. They've spent 3 years in each other's company. Why does he think she's a thief? So naturally, she says, of course I won't take anything. But she wakes in the night, and she's thirsty. And Solomon has left wonderful clear water right by her bed. And as she reaches out to take a cup of water, Solomon's hand grabs her. And he says, you've broken your oath. I can break mine. And they sleep together.
When the Queen of Sheba returned home, she carried with her the light of wisdom. The Quran explains that this light represented her conversion to the faith of Solomon's God, making Sheba the first person to bring monotheism to Arabia.
One of the amazing facets of the Sheba story is the idea of Sheba as the first person to recognize Allah and to bring this religion to her people.
Sheba's night of passion was to have other far-reaching consequences. The Keber Nagast tells us that 9 months after leaving Jerusalem, Sheba gave birth to her first and only son, Menelik. The Ethiopian Holy Book goes on to document how when Menelik came of age, he journeyed to Jerusalem to visit his father. Returning from Solomon with the Ark of the Covenant, Menelik took it to Ethiopia, where he founded a new dynasty. Menelik's departure for Ethiopia is the last reference any of the religious sources make to Sheba. Thereafter, she simply vanishes. Sheba's city, Marib, continued for another 1,500 years until the 6th century A.D.
The end of the Sabaean culture was pretty coincidental to the rise of Christianity. As part of Christianity, there was a belief now in burial rather than cremation. As a big part of cremation, frankincense was sprinkled on the funeral pyre. And we know, for instance, from Nero's wife Poppaea, when she died, Nero used all the frankincense of Arabia for the entire year for her funeral. So with the rise of Christianity and burial rather than cremation, the demand for frankincense just fell way, way off.
Without the profits from frankincense, Marib slowly began to die. Then disaster struck.
The final blow came when their great resource, agriculture, was wiped out by a collapse of the Great Dam. And they pretty much went out of business probably almost like in a year. And that was the end.
The great fields that once fed 50,000 people returned to desert. The shimmering oasis of Marib turned into a mirage. As summer temperatures soar, Maryland's 4-week expedition draws to a close. The Yemeni authorities are getting nervous about the increasingly restless local warlords. Then, an incredible last-minute discovery. After weeks of excavating the legendary Queen of Sheba's sanctuary, Chief Archaeologist Bill Glansman has made a startling discovery.
This is the last couple of days on the site, and of course this is when the exciting stuff always starts to pop up. The head on this particular piece is still intact. That's what makes this such a splendid piece. What we have here, in fact, is a grave stele that has been recycled as part of masonry construction into this wall. It would have originally been set vertically. Grave steles would indicate somebody of prominence who's buried in the cemetery. This is not Joe Average Sabaean. No two of these heads are identical, so it looks like there's a sense of realism. This is a female's head. I'd have to have our specialist look at the inscription to give us a full translation of the individual's name. Was this a queen? We have quite a few stele. There's never a title associated with these inscriptions yet, at least not yet.
Once again, the team is tantalizingly close to putting a face on the Queen of Sheba.
We'll get in trouble here any second.
As if in answer to Bill's questioning, the spirits of the desert rise once more. Proof enough for the local Bedouin that Sheba continues to haunt this place.
For the people of Arabia today, where one of the most common names for little girls is Balkis or Bilkis, which is the legendary name of Sheba, Sheba is a memory of a glorious time. A time of wealth, a time of international trade, and a time before Islam. Sheba perhaps represents for the people there their pride in their ancient history, but also their new commitments to monotheism.
One of the exciting things about the archaeology of this sanctuary is that if there is a way to solve this riddle, it almost certainly will be from the discoveries made at this site.
Bill's discovery indicates that royal graves may well be found in the vicinity of the site.
I'd be very surprised if she didn't show up in inscriptions, and that if eventually her grave was not found.
Just like her brother before her, Marilyn's efforts to excavate the ruins of the Mahram Bilqis have yielded invaluable new information about the Sabaeans, a civilization that, as her brother Wendell rightly suspected, was contemporary with the biblical King Solomon.
When I think of Wendell, I think one of the most important components of his character was his never say die spirit. My purpose is to continue his work and to see this great temple come alive.
For now, excavation at the Mahram Bilqis has stopped. But the team has shown that this sanctuary was the focal point of Saba's miraculous artificial oasis, and nothing less than a forgotten wonder of the world. The team's findings suggest that the real Queen of Sheba would also have been this sanctuary's highest priestess, the chief supplicant of the fertility god, Almaka. And it is now apparent that a Sabaean monarch would have had a powerful motive for undertaking such a perilous journey to meet Solomon in the 10th century. Trade was Marab's lifeblood. That this monarch was a woman is highly likely. She lived in an era when women often became rulers in Arabia, and the sheer number of ancient sources to mention a queen is compelling. But without her real name, much about this queen remains mysterious. Whoever she was a remarkable woman whose courageous efforts to secure a trade link were immortalized in a legend that has survived for 3,000 years.
This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. You just heard a documentary on the Queen of Sheba. Now, as you can hear them talking about the Arabic legend of this woman, and as you can also hear, the Ethiopians also recognize as the Queen of Sheba. The Ethiopians also give her a name, Makeda. When the first time I went to Ethiopia, some Ethiopian priests were showing us a pool. Nothing was in the pool at the time when they showed, but them showing us this pool, and they said that she used to bathe in the pool in milk. Yes, they used to fill the pool of milk, and she used to bathe in it. The story is so dynamic in that there are other legends that is not mentioned on that documentary. And as I said before, a lot of people hear Rasta with certain reasoning, and they feel it's almost like them get intimidated because them don't know that story there. So if them don't know the story, where you get them full talk from. But the nations surrounding the Red Sea have heard of these stories that Rasta keep perpetuating in the hearts and soul of them livity. And we who understand the Ethiopic lineage and the Ethiopian version of that story recognize that here is a woman who, according to this legend, brought monotheism to that part of the world. Monotheism is the belief in one God. So here we are now, faced with this idea of the feminine energy that we speak of when we talk about the feminine energy. And this feminine energy is coming through different flesh and different spirit, because even Solomon, David, the Israel ideas of God, Yahweh, came out of a feminine energy. Yes. Because when we look at the whole story, the Bible says, let us make man in our own image and likeness. And when him done make man, the Bible says, and God rests and saw that all him make was good. So in Genesis 2, it starts a new story, and it starts to tell you about a garden and putting a man to sleep and bringing forth now something named woman. Now, if you analyze the evolution of that mythology, you recognize that the mythology was recreated in the birth of the Christian God and the Christian Son of God and the Christian idea of God that says it is the womb of this woman that brought forth the Savior. So if the womb of the woman brought forth the Savior, and the Savior, according to Christianity, was before time, before man was created, Christians tell you, say, the Spirit of Christ was there with the Father. Therefore, the womb metaphysically must be Zion, the formation of the planets and what we call now in the beginning. The womb is the beginning. That is why if you reason with the Bataways in Ethiopia, and them say, you say, and I think I mentioned this before upon the radio, its foundation is in the holy mountain. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. No. The priests them in Ethiopia will tell you that the gates of Zion, the Lord loveth the gates of Zion, is the womb of Mary. Not the Mount Zion that is physical. Because them gone beyond now the physical now and are looking to the spiritual interpretation of the Mount Zion. Them say the Mount Zion is the womb of Mary, Holy Mary, this mother of God, saying that the Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Meaning say him love the womb of Mary more than all of Israel. Because in the womb lies the Savior of humanity. So when you recognize the other interpretation, that the womb, that's why even if you're not Christian, but Aboriginal people say Mother Earth, because Mother Earth give birth. Mother Earth is Mary. Mother Earth is nature, which give the creation, its beginning. So it is the feminine energy that is creating this man, physical man. So the us would have to be a male and female energy, a feminine and masculine energy that is creating this human. So the us would have to be interpreted as the wife of whosoever is speaking, let us make man. The let us obviously is the masculine speaking, the female or the feminine is called upon by the masculine, saying, come, let us make man in our image. Our is not singular, our is plural. Let us is plural. Let us make man in our own image, symbolizing that there is a feminine and a masculine energy that is creating this. And in order to revive that feminine and masculine energy, the Christians reinterpret the us in the female, but disregard the male. And that's really ironical. That here is it that the male takes center stage in the beginning, because where them say the female is coming out of the male. But in the resurrection, it is the male that is coming out of the female without the help of the next male, which is that it is Mary that is giving birth to a savior, which is a man, without the help of a next man, which is Joseph. How ironical that is. So in both sense, we get lost into not a balance. We don't have a balance in none of the two stories. Because one give up the female as just a ribs of a male, and the other one give up the male because them say the female is a virgin, and the virgin did not, it was not the intention for us to believe that the woman never have no sex even when she have this child. So what we are saying is that we need to look back at how the story is brought to us and the perspective that it gives. And isn't it ironical that it is only Ethiopia in the world that claims the throne of David, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Judaic lineage? It is only Ethiopia that claims the Davidic throne, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Judaic lineage. Whether we can define it in a physical way, where we can say, well, Solomon and Sheba and Davidic lineage and this and that and that, whether it is a mythology, legend that has been passed down or not, Ethiopia claim it. That is the beauty of that perception, that Ethiopia claimed the throne of David. Nobody disputed. Haile Selassie was crowned king of Israel. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to the man attack when he put the throne, when he put the crown upon Haile Selassie head. Haile Selassie, Ethiopia claimed the throne of Israel. The Israelis them took 10,000 Falashas or Beta Israelites out of Ethiopia into Israel. Because the Beta Israelites was living according to the Judaic, the Torah, and all the so-called Jewish Bible, the so-called Old Testament. These people in Ethiopia was living according to this religious belief. And Christianity, Ethiopia, the oldest Christian empire on earth, relating to from Egypt, where this Christian thing started, and all of the ideas of Christianity is centered around the same sun God. Because the first symbol of worship by human beings was the sun in the sky. And what the Christians have done is they made the sun embodied in a human being. And so the sun and man become one. And the only way we can see our divine destiny or see our life, the humanness in our life, is to really go back into the realms of the Kemetic knowledge, as we say as Rasta, knowledge. The beauty about it is that Rasta claim this knowledge without even what we call studying the knowledge. We have been living out a certain aspect of what we call anciency, without even studying that anciency. Because most of we are not anthropologists. So we're not studying, we're not going to dig up our archaeologists. Like how you hear them people, they dig up this and dig up that. Them dig it up for come find proof and evidence. To even validate the existence of I. Because all it do is validate I. So when we look on all the areas that it extends itself into, we know that the kingdom of Ethiopia extends itself way into west of India. So we know when them talk about Sheba, just like how the Greeks them go to Africa. If you look on the old map, I was looking at an old map of Africa just yesterday, and it was Ethiopia. The old map, this is the old map of Africa. It never have Africa upon it. It have the Greek word Ethiopia. So the whole of Africa was once called Ethiopia. And the kingdom of Ethiopia stretched beyond the Red Sea. So now geographically we have a small little place named Ethiopia. And Ethiopia, the kingdom of Ethiopia, claim David throne. The kings of Ethiopia claim the Judaic lineage. Wow. So we are saying this to say that here's a woman who gave another perspective to Ethiopia. Because she left with one perspective and come back with a different perspective. But it is because of her journey. And then here is now the history that surrounds the female in relationship to Mary, who the Roman Catholic Church idolize. As a matter of fact, they have a thing named purgatory in the Roman Catholic Church where I tell you, say, Mary after is like Mary like a secretary. Mary like a secretary. If you have to go through Mary if you come to Jesus. You know, see, the Holy Church not accept that. Them say, boy, Jesus is the only way and thing. But you have Roman Catholic Church where I tell you, say, Mary. And it might sound like strange and weird, but there is a reference point to this understanding of Mary and the womb of Mary. Blessed is the womb of Mary. And blessed is our son. Isis is the mother of God. And it is Isis that sits with our husband and said, what shall we do now? And our husband said, let us make man in our own image and likeness. Isis, Horus, Osiris, Mary, Jesus, the Father, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. Them give it in so many ways. And them leave out the woman. Trinity, earthquake.
You live for the Trinity. Yes,
how you doing, man?
Give thanks to the energy, you know. Energized through the night, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know, the royal family together, you know, we have a family gathering the 17th of February, you know.
Where that in here now? Where it about?
Towards that either go towards the tabernacle roof, that strength, you know, see. So we have a family day and night activities, 6 aside from the community, running about Roseberry District, Kinol, Hampton, Elgin, so football team. That the day we have bounce about for the youth. In the night now we have culture package. You know, see, like artists, Caesar will be there with them son, King Tafari. You know, see, big up Judgment Yard. I see all the Rasta community throughout Jamaica. You know, see, so I'm calling everyone, you know, to have this massive celebration with the Rastafari. You know, see, trot out ones and all to come out, you know, and be a part of this whole, you know, fullness, you know. And the aid going towards the tabernacle roof, you know, see it, and more activity around it, you know.
All right, so I'm to the education part. You know, I'm be a jump up and down and jump about and dance.
Yeah, Miguel Lance, I'm going to come in now.
That we ask you. Where the part they will like here about?
Yeah, the lecture now from the professor them from the university have chat up, you know, like the eyes still, you know, and yes, as far as
I am. Me never tell you say me I come rest now. You tell the eyes still. Me never tell what is the bad bad.
Miguel Lance.
Listen, wait a man, hold on, earthquake. Me just ask you about educational part and you start call name. The man them who for name you call till them a come, they come talk?
Yeah, me talk.
But how you call my name and the first me never tell you say me a come say to nothing.
I like this.
You joke it out.
I try.
Because it's important that you have an educational. You see, everybody keep this and I keep that, but them have no educational part of the thing.
Yeah, we have bookman come in.
So most time when Rasta keep them always have an educational aspect of the thing where it's very important.
Yeah,
we can't just bounce about and a dance also. We have to have some educational aspect of the thing. You understand?
True.
So when I ask you that now, I mean seriously, if when you say that, if I true me say, when the educational part, why you call the name them, or you don't have them name, they set up?
Yeah, we don't have them name. Yes, sorry, Bookman, History Man, and Miguel Lan.
All right.
That's it, part of the education, that's it. That means, that's it.
Yeah.
Can't get the people them more sharp.
All right, so this is put on a roof on the tabernacle in a Malvern, St. Elizabeth. A lot of people them know they are St. Elizabeth that day. Right?
through in the Roseberry district, Malvern Pure, St. Elizabeth, not the mountain.
All right, sir.
And that's it. So we got gathering on the field, you know. So we are call out all the ones, you know, let's see it. Near and far near. We be a part of that. That's the event coming up, you know.
17th of February. Black
Yes, your Power Majesty, you know.
All right. Give thanks, brethren.
Give thanks, Rastafari. Mota.
Yes, sir.
Bongo.
Blessed man. How you doing, man?
Well, go.
Alright, man.
You leave a message on behalf of Lego, you hear?
No.
Yeah,
Where you left it?
Downstairs over the operator from earlier.
Oh, no, me never get it.
To the Dennis Brown show next week Sunday, don't I?
Yeah, we know about it. Yeah, the 29th, the 30th or something.
Yeah, 29th.
Yeah, they might keep it fit into the first.
Yeah. And Marley brothers, them confirm Peter and Shaggy and Cocotti and
okay. Very Saman.
Yeah. And you supposed to do that too. I don't know. I don't want you to put me like earthquake or whatever. You know what I call my David at the talk and the man has about it. Oh, that does so run up so I believe I hear not about this thing, you know. That's so bad, you know. And you mentioned about what to the educational part of the rat and the man start to wheel off some name. He must have finished me attack to him. You ever done that, man? You know, so we now miss it. We did it from the first one keeping us up.
Yeah, man, no, man. You got to tell me, man.
Yes. So, yeah, man, we ever done that, man. We now miss that, man. And we are performed to Enderman the school too, you know.
Yeah.
For one Wednesday night there. It's a Wednesday night, you know, so we are going to miss continent a Wednesday night there with me and my band and Okonoro and Sly and Robbie. Yeah, in Enderman the school there. So I think on the 15th.
Choose them supposed to the lunch for museum.
Oh yeah? Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, so give thanks, man. Want to be to some of them.
More life.
Want to be to some of them. So Sumbo.
Yes, man.
Want to be to Sumba.
I have to make sure book you, know.
Alright, sir.
Yeah, bless her.
Yeah, man, give thanks. Yeah, man, I'm a bridging bongo, man, that, you know, me I tell you, we love him more than Jesus love like children, man. Okay, so what we there? Reset the mindset. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM going through the process of redefining, eradicating, resetting the mindset according to the brethren. Yeah, man, it's a serious thing when we look on how we come through the Western world in a school and them not teach you nothing about ourselves, and that which they teach us about ourselves, we did not recognize ourselves in that teaching. Yes, it's true. Because how could we have known that when we were going to church, it is we historically they were speaking about? How could we have identified when even the man who was teaching us did not know? It was like something in the sky, which is that them teach us. And we recognize the earth. And we realize now that a lot of these things that they teach us, they twist it and turn it and bend it till it become a lie. Because now them defend it as truth. And the reason why it is a lie is because them defend it as a truth. Them don't defend it as a recognition of interpretation or a understanding of perceptions. They teach us like it's a real thing. So when I refer to things in the Bible as mythology, people vex about that. When we say the Adam and Eve stories are mythology, a whole lot of people don't like to hear that. Because they want us to believe that it's a real thing I go on this or no. These people who teach us these things, is guilty of false impression, of false indoctrination, guilty for leading generations and generations of people astray. And now this generation accept the lie as truth. And when you start to reverse the lie, you are seen as a crazy mixed up guy. Yeah, them see as a crazy mixed up guy. When you're trying to reset the mindset, they might say, where you get them things from? You're crazy. But guess what? Them know what we are saying now. Them know what we are saying. Then if them never know what we are saying, why you think all these anthropologists and archaeologists and all these people is there? Because these anthropologists and archaeologists make them know, say, where we are say have a validity. There's certain validity in what we say. And even though a lot of us may not be able to articulate this experience, but not because you cannot articulate it, it means it is not valid. Not because you are not educated, it means that you can't experience. Because experience, they say, teacheth wisdom. And it is the experience that validates it. A lot of people don't want to hear nothing about Africa. The first thing they tell is they don't know sell out one another, they don't know this and that is all. It's either we was slave or we sell one another and look how we dead there now and all these things. And when I'm talking about the classical Europe, the Renaissance in Europe and the this and that in Europe and the that and that in Europe, it's like Africa did not contribute anything to civilization. When you're ready to hear them talk about European history and all these learned people, sometimes you hear them on a next radio program, on a next radio station, and when you hear them attack, all them can say, but all these people are talking about Africa. So them should have glad say white people bring a slave, or else wouldn't know about cell phone. Ay. They would have glad say them should have glad say we come here as slave, or else wouldn't know for this and know for that. That is all them know about Africa. That Africans used to sell Africans. That's all them know about Africa. That we were brought here and become slaves. But when them talking about Europe, you never hear nothing terrible about Europe yet. And there's so much stories I can tell you historically that they, Europeans, wrote about themselves. That leaves, terrible things. You can look on their television and you can look on their Hollywood movies and see them portraying themselves in some terrible ways. But guess what? We see it as movies. We don't take it real. But make them put a slave movie on the television. And you see the African, them a bleed and a blood and down south, Alabama and Mississippi and all these things. And they have never projected us in a refined way. They have projected us as the hunted, the beasts. The hunter kill the lion and say that him kill. It was a game. The lion kill the hunter, and the lion is a savage beast. History is a very important part of human development. It is history that guides us to this point in our life. It is history why sometimes we do and don't do what we don't do and do. It is history that will also decide a lot of what we will do. Marcus Garvey says, a people without a knowledge of them history is like a tree without root. And black people don't learn about their history. Slavery is not African history. Anytime you hear somebody tell you about, I'm going to tell you about some African history, and start tell you about slavery. Tell them, say, Muta Baruka say, slavery and African history. Slavery is where African history was broken up. That is where African history was destroyed. But Rastafari has become the memory of the people of Jamaica and the memory of a lot of people. We are the DNA that perpetuates itself up to this day, and we stick like how life force is planted in the amber, and the amber keeps that life force energy to awaken to a next day. It's like a resurrection. So we, who is the ancestors, because really and truly, I am my ancestor. I tell Ian Bowen that on a television program, and him laugh at me. Him say, don't come with no semantics. But him need to go back into, listen to what I say. I am my ancestor, and my ancestor is I. If there was no ancestor, I wouldn't exist. And if I never exist, there would be no ancestor existing. I are the memory of the Jamaican people. It is I, Rastafari, that bring forth that which we thought was lost. I will bring it forth into this world that don't recognize Africanness and African thought and African logics and African spirituality. Because we are so gummed, we are so poornell in the thinking of the slave master that when we look into the mirror and see ourselves, we vex and I wonder if something wrong with the mirror. And by the way, as we talk about that, in an interview that Vibes Cartel give, Vibes Cartel say, him never hear nobody dead from bleaching. Him hear people dead from cigarette. Him hear people dead from car accident, whatsoever, in him logics. Him say him never hear people dead from bleaching. My answer to that is that not because you never hear nobody dead from bleaching, it means that nobody never dead from bleaching. Well, I have something to tell him and people who have that view. it though people who smoke cigarette don't dead from cigarette the same day them smoke it. Sometimes them don't dead from cigarette 5 years into smoking it, 10 years into smoking it. People die from things not at the point of using that thing. Well, it would appear that people start to dead now from bleaching, because there's 3 cases of women dying from bleaching. People, and I know they don't make no difference to the sister them who bleach, but it is reported that last year, is not even years ago neither, it's last year, 3 women dead from bleaching. Over a period of time, them was bleaching and them stopped bleach, and that is it. So the cancer developing at them skin, not on the day or the next day or the next day when them using, but over a period of time. So we will reverberate this reasoning again for say, bleaching is a dangerous thing, because it thin your skin and make your skin susceptible to cancerous rays. In other words, what is supposed to protect your skin, the ultraviolet rays that is coming at you, your skin is supposed to be protected. But when you bleach it, you thin your skin, and your skin is no longer able to protect you from these rays. So over a period of time, you develop skin cancer. Now, it has not been happening, we have not been hearing a lot of people dying from bleaching, because the phenomena has not developed itself as far as we can see to make us see that this thing is dangerous. But now, we can see that in the continuous bleaching, we are going to see an ear, and I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, but just like when we was talking about the fast food and the effect of fast food upon young people. Young people now, because of the whole heap of fast food, them bloated, them look like how me supposed to look at my age or so. Well, it's the same thing with the bleaching. I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, but we are going to hear a lot of sisters dying because they continue to bleach their skin for being in beauty with it. They want to be with it. They want to be part of the hype. So they continue to do it. And because them get up today and tomorrow and them don't feel no way, because them get up 2-3 months, 3 years and don't feel no way, them continue to do it. And one day them get up and realize them can't afford it no more. It discolor them face, discolor them body, and then move away that melanin that is supposed to be that chemical that protects you from these rays. And they are going to die. Premature death. So that is something that my brethren, after analyzing the situation, say, him never hear nobody dead from bleaching. Well, brethren, I have heard, and this is not just hearsay, this is people who is, what them call them? We don't know what them call them people there, skin specialists, doctors, who treat these people and come to them after and then little more years to them dead. It's a serious, serious thing. And I want to tell you, say, people who has bleached for a long time, maybe too late now to stop. I don't want to sound weird, but you have been warned and you did not heed to the warning. Now you have to stand the consequence of that. This is the cutting edge, and I refer. We have a few minutes leave on the program. You know, the funniest thing about these sisters who pass away from the bleaching thing is that them parents and them friend them don't want people know says the bleaching cause it, you know. It's weird, you know. It's like if them could have just come out and say, well, the bleaching cause, maybe that help somebody else to stop the bleaching, but it's like them don't want nobody know say bleaching cause them dead, so them just give it over to some other reasoning. It's weird. Cutting edge, I refer. We see my virgin coming here with a headgear again. That means that your bike, you dip on your bike again. What you say? You not left your bike? No, sir. You not buy a car? No, I'm a good old bike. A good old bike. You sound like Marshall. You sound like Marshall. You thought you good old wife. You thought you good old bike. No, that you end up feel heavy with that thing that you had a ride bike, man. No, sir. Eh? No, sir. You ever ride your mother on the bike yet? One time. What? How far? Come here. Seriously? One time. How far you ride your mother on the bike? Tell me. Round the scheme. Eh? No, them things are heavy for go in a Rasta. Yeah, man. Eh? Versus my side. You can't afford to drop asleep. You can't afford to drop asleep with them big thing, man. No, what this thing look like some space man. Like when you see some man from Mars, man. So when you ride up on the bike, you serious? Yeah, man. But she frightened, she free door.
She was. She still is, but she kind of...
Yeah, cool and half right. But when you see you drop off of the bike so much time, she almost fret for you.
Man, she's tired for fame.
Well, you know, you see the Rasta. No, if me and your mother, me forbid you to ride bike, you know, the most of the time when me see you drop off a bike, you know. Believe you me.
It's something nice one.
The first time you drop off a bike, me stop ride bike, you know. Me ride a bike one time, you know, me gas the bike, you know, me see the gas now, go down back, you know. It's just a gas the bike, you know, boom, I ram up in a concrete wall, me don't jump off of the bike before it reach a wall, you know. We have to pay for the people that wall, eh?
You get too scrape.
Yeah, man, me scrape up, man. But me not going to the wall with the bike. But the bike go on the wall by itself. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we give thanks to the moment. We give thanks to the energy. We give thanks to the time where you stay with me. Next week, as we say, we continue the female energy. Yes, we have our sister talk about certain things we should use and we should make. We gain popularity in England and all these places. You understand? Natural products. All right. So I give thanks, as I say, give thanks. Next month, Black History Month. You know, so we're not done Black History Month. No time at all on this program. So every month a Black History Month for we. And next month is also Reggae Month. They're having a series of things happening. Here, Bongo Roman just called me and remind me that in the January, you know, say Dennis Brown born the 1st of February. Well, them going to have the usual Dennis Brown tribute down on North Street and Orange Street. Right, which part Dennis Brown come from. North Street, Orange Street, that's all. Big concert in the street. They block off the whole Orange Street, that's all. And make it into a big session. So all the people who they are foreign, it's a good time to come to Jamaica, you know. Yes, February. You know, so much things happening. As a matter of fact, so much things that happen from the year start. Yeah, because we have the week before me go to one concert on a Studio 38 there with Jimmy Riley and Ken Booth and George Nooks and John Holt. The next week me end up a Rebel Salute. This weekend, see, I have a thing near a courtly name. When call it again? Oh gosh, man. Anyway, I have a concert with poets and singers. We see Cherry Natural, and we see Tanya Stevens, Fanny, Tessie and Chin, Dub, Tonic. I mean, it's a beautiful lineup. Next week is Jazz and Blues Festival. And then we're going in the next month. Jamaica is a music capital. I wish we could have get some medication like how we get the music. Believe you me. So we say give thanks to the moment, give thanks to the energy. We're gone, you know.